Hello, hi, and welcome to today's session on Git and GitHub. A little bit about myself. Myself, Aditya. I'm a fourth year student at PSG Tech, and I'm a cybersecurity researcher. I'm really into cybersecurity and networking, and I've also done a bunch of workshops and projects on web development, cybersecurity, network security, etc. Let's get to it.
And this is what a general GitHub repository would look like. It has these, it has something called branches, it has tags, it has releases over here, it has contribute, it has a lot of stuff. But let's get straight to it. So I hope all of you have downloaded Git CLI so you can follow along. That's the whole point of this. Let's get started. So I use Windows. So I prefer using PowerShell on Windows Terminal. But you can use anything you'd like because we will learn about how to use Git from command line more than how to use Git from the GUI. Because knowing the GUI is a fairly easy thing, but knowing it from command line is really faster. And even though it is less beginner friendly, I will make it beginner friendly for you all right now. First thing first, what is Git? Does anyone know what Git is? Can someone unmute and tell me what do you think Git is? Now, let me tell you something. Git is a versioning system, version control system. So from the name that it's a version control system, can someone make out what is Git or GitHub? Can someone just let me know? What do you think Git or GitHub is? It's a version control system. What does that mean? You can use the chat as well. You don't really need to unmute. All right, no one. So there is the concept called versioning. And in the concept of versioning, what happens is you maintain different versions for different copies of your code or work. So let us get started, and I think you'll understand as we keep doing this. So on my desktop, I'm going to make a directory or make a folder called learn git. And there we go, there's learn git. And on my GitHub as well, I'll create something called a repository. A repository is basically a folder to learn. There we go. To teach my friends what Git does and how it works. So this is how you create a new repository. You click on the plus icon here, new repository, and there we go. Once you create a repository, you'll get into this page. But let's not look at this page and let's do it ourselves. I created a folder called learn git on my desktop, right? And this is what learn git looks like, an empty folder. Now, I want to make it a Git repository. So a folder and a repository can be used interchangeably, but a Git repository is something that has Git version control system on the folder. What does that mean? We'll learn throughout. So we say git init to initialize a Git repository. That will create this folder called .git. So a folder that starts with dot means it's a hidden folder. We'll create .git with all this stuff. And if you want to learn more technical about this stuff, Google it, because we're going to get onto how to apply Git more than how Git works really. Once you do git init, you can create a file. Let's say we create a file, new file, right? A new text document saying hello world, right? And I'm going to say hello world in the text document. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to say git add hello world because I want to add this file to this local Git repository that I just initialized. And then I have to run something called commit. Now, what does commit do? Commit marks the end of a version. So let us say I've written some code and this is my code base. Okay. I want to mark the end of this version by saying git commit created version 1, for example, and I can say git push. Now, on your first time, it's not going to work. You have to link your GitHub repository with Git. Now, Git and GitHub are completely different. So the difference between Git and GitHub is, let us say Git is your HTML file and GitHub can be like a Google Chrome or Firefox or Internet Explorer. We get the point? Git is the system and GitHub is what helps you access the system. So again, there we go, git push that, and that is going to push hello world.txt on here. There we go, we have hello world.txt. Now, what is git commit? Git commit means I've added all the files I need for this version. I want to commit this version saying this is the version. And -m means message. So you want to add a commit message for everything. The message is compulsory. It can also be nothing. Git commit wouldn't work. You have to say -m and then nothing. That would also. Okay, now man. You can put spacebar as the message because message always requires a value. Now, let us add a new file. Let us say hi world, right? Hi world. Now I have to add the file hi world, right? But when I write code, my code base, let me open a sample code base for you guys. This is a code base. So my code will have a lot of files, a lot of folders, a lot of things. I can't be naming all of them one by one. So all I need to do is git add dot. What does git add dot do? Dot stands for everything. So git add dot will add everything in a folder. Then I say git commit -m added more code. That's what I did. And I can say git push. It's that simple. Git add, git commit, git push. Once I reload this page, I'll see hi world.txt. Now, since hello world remains unchanged, it is still back with v1. But since hi world added more code, we get added more code with this. Now, next up, let us try to edit some code. So come to hello world and say hello Aaditya, right? Now I made some changes. Git add dot again, git commit -m made some changes. Git push. Now this comment really doesn't matter. No one's gonna see this comment. Only people who are looking at your repo. For human understanding, this comment exists. Now, as you can see, it says made some changes. And we've committed to this repo 3 times. So let's just look at the 3 commits we made, right? The first commit is created v1. In what did we do in this commit? We created a file and we added this text. Second commit is add more code. What did we do in this? We created a file. It's an empty file. One changed file with 0 additions and 0 deletions. Next commit is made some changes. What did we do here? On the file hello-world.txt, we specifically removed the word world and we added Aaditya instead. 1 addition, 1 deletion. This way we can track some things. We can track what we are doing on our Git repository. That's the whole point of Git. The whole point of Git is to track your changes. Number 1. Number 2 is for multiple people to collaborate. Now we'll get to the collaboration part later. Now that these are the basics I'm done with. Now I'll just add one more part. Let us say I was never supposed to say hi, hello Aaditya. That's a mistake I made. And what did I do before that? So let us say I made this change. Now I want to change it back. If I open Notepad, I hit Control Z. Or if I say if I edit undo, I can't undo because it doesn't remember my change, right? But Git does. Git remembers my change. So now this change is on this commit. This is the commit ID E8A 8B7 that's randomly generated right here, as you can see. So I can just say git revert and then paste the commit name. Git revert and then that. These are the changes. So you've modified hello world.txt and git push now. Let us reload. And there we go. Reverted, made some changes. That means when you open this, it'll say hello world and not hello Aaditya. And what did we change in this commit? We will be able to say it here. Hello Aaditya has changed back to hello world. And this change will also be reflected on your local directory. So if I made some mess up, I can undo the mess up with versioning. So this is what versioning means. Now for the small interaction. What do you think versioning and all that means? Can someone tell me what GitHub means? You can just chat or talk, anything's good. A place to store files? I mean, sure, GitHub is a place to store files, but it's much more than that. Anyone else? See, it's all chill. I'm just doing this for fun. We're all just doing this for fun. collaborate with others. Okay. But I think I focus on the versioning part of it. Can someone tell me what versioning does? What does versioning mean? All right, cool. I will be sharing notes after the end of the session, so don't worry if you didn't get something. You can always go through the notes. Now, the next part, Git. The whole point of Git is versioning. That means you can store versions of your same code. So here's a version v1. It only has this file. Here's another version. So each comment marks a version, like I keep saying. Next up, we have, let's get to the next part of this session. Let me just open it up. I hope all of you guys are able to follow. If I'm too fast, let me know, I can slow down. The whole point is to share knowledge. This is not one of those events that we're conducting. It's not even a namesake thing. I'm just doing this because I thought I could share some knowledge on Git. Tracks file changes. Perfect. That's the perfect answer. What Git versioning does is it tracks file changes. Now, the next part. Let us add one more file. And let this file be a bogus file. Bogus file. And let us say bogus random text. Blah. Yeah, now. And let us say I added this by mistake. Git add dot. Now, I haven't committed this yet. But I added it, right? What if I never wanted to push this to my GitHub repo? Now it's not pushed, obviously. I didn't commit it. I didn't push it. I only added it to the Git repo. What does that mean? To the Git repo that is locally available here, I've added this file, right? What if I wanted to undo that? That is also fairly simple. That is one line. So this is before. After committing, if you want to undo, you use git revert. Before committing, if you want to undo, you say git reset dot. That means it will reset it to whatever there was before you ran this add command. It only works before you commit to revert an incorrect command or an incorrect action. Now, next up, let us go back. And let's say this learn Git is the repository that two teams have to work on. One person does the front end, one person does the back end. Both of them have to work on the same repo. Would that really work? I mean, yes, it would, but how would they collaborate? So that is why we have something called branches. So branches or tags, you can use either, but people usually use branches more than tags. Now, what are branches? You'll find out when I'm done with showing you all what branches is. So first, as someone else, from your point of view, I think everyone can open this link. I'll be putting it on the Meet chat and try to clone this, right? To clone, you click on code or you just copy this link and you just type in git clone and then paste the link. Now, see, learn git already exists here, right? Let me rename learn git to something else. Learn git initial, right? Now you can say git clone paste. That will clone my directory into the directory name, which is learn git. So cd learn git. Now it created a new folder called learn git without the bogus stuff. It only has what is there on the GitHub repo. Okay. So git clone. Now let us say I push an update here, right? Desktop learn git initial and git add dot git commit -m bogus added and git push, right? Now over here we have, it's real. We have something called bogus file. But the person who cloned it, which is the cloned version, which is learn git. Does learn git have bogus file? No. You need to pull the changes. That means get the update, pull the update, right? So for that, you just do git pull. Unable to access, huh? maybe if we clone from the cloning directory, it would work. So if you just want to download the folder, you just do git clone with the URL on top. But otherwise, you run this. Let me delete git, this one. So it will be the URL and then .git. So that is pretty important. Okay. cd learn git. Now if I do ls, obviously bogus file is there. But let us say I messed something up. Let's remove bogus file. Now I say git pull, right? Sorry, up to date. So that will pull the bogus file. That will pull any updates from the repo on here. So I want you guys to just do git clone and then just check, make sure you have all the files. Next up, let's say you're working on backend or frontend. Now I want everyone to do this action. So you guys have GitHub, right? Git. You have Git CLI, right? Because I asked you to install it. At least, how many of you will have it? Just raise your hands on the Gmeet chat. Okay, a bunch of you will have it. That's good enough. That's enough. Now, what I want you guys to do is run this command, git clone, and then the repo I just now created. And then I want you all to make a new file. So right click, new file, Mac, Windows, whatever you're on. And name this file with your name. And then in the file, you type your name. Okay. And you guys, I don't want you to push it here. Instead of pushing, what I want to do is, I'm sorry, if you cloned it, just delete it off because that was a small mistake. I will get to the collaboration part in a bit. But right now, let me show you. For collaboration, what you would do is you would create a branch. So I can do git checkout. So if I do git branch, it will list all the branches. So if I do git checkout -b and then Aaditya. Now I do git branch. It'll have two branches, Aaditya and main. And it will currently be on Aaditya. Now, let me do, let's say git push, right? Git add dot git commit -m and then Aaditya git push. Git push -u origin Aaditya. That's the command if you're going to push to a new branch. The first time you push to a new branch. Please make notes. It's gonna push, and when I reload the page, it will have a new branch called Aaditya. There you go. So Aaditya is another branch. Look. So you have Aaditya and main here, and Aaditya has the file Aaditya, while main does not have that file. That way, people can maintain two different branches. So you can have a separate branch for front end and a separate branch for back end, maybe a separate branch for database modules. So you can split the work, split the team, have different branches. And then what you can do is merge these different branches into a final application. And to merge the branch, that is also fairly simple. So let me get to that. You check out back to the main branch. So git checkout -b main. Then you just do git checkout main. Oops. Yeah. So now that we've switched to the branch main, if you're creating a new branch, you use -b. If you're going to an existing branch, you don't use that. So git checkout main, then you do git merge main with Aaditya. Now let's reload the main branch. Here's the main branch. You had to git push. My bad. There we go. Now, if you reload the main branch, on the main branch, Aaditya has been merged with main, and both the branches are merged. So that way, people can work on separate branches, which will keep people's work separate, not together. Then you can merge it back in. So what we just did, let me illustrate that for you. Yeah, we have. Whoops. There we go. We have main. And then on main, we did some work, right? let's say we got to a checkpoint over here, for example. Let me use this and a pretty nice thickness. And then we split main into main and Aditya. And then we did the same thing. We did some work on the new branch. We also did some work on main. So this thing will come here. I'm just trying to draw this for you guys so you can understand it easier. And on main also, we did a bunch of work until here. So this is the whole point of branching. Branching is like making a new branch. And once we were done, we came back. So we merged Aditya back with this. So this is the Aditya branch. And we merged that back with the main branch. This is pretty much the actions that we did. Until now, does anyone have any questions on the kind of stuff we did? You can use comments, you can unmute, you can do whatever you want. It's all chill again. So this is how branching works. So this whole thing, this whole operation happens within the same repository. And now let's get to the next part. Now that I'm done with branching, I'm almost done with the whole session today. We have a Q&A in the end. Now that I'm done with branching, let us get to pull requests. So what I want you guys to do is, you again do this. Go to your home directory. Okay, right now. Just do it as I say and I'll wait on you guys. Okay. Now you go to your home directory. You open this GitHub URL. So this is the link to my Git thing. Let me send it once again in the chat for this. Yeah. You click on fork. What does fork do? Let me explain fork by switching my account to a different account. When you click on fork, fork will create a copy of the repository. Now, if you make if this way, I create a copy of that repository on my other account. This is the ICE account. And here, what happens? Here I can make my own changes. So once you fork it, you click over here, you click on copy to clipboard, you say git clone this, right? And then, as everyone forked it, I'll give you guys a while for forking it. Let me know if you guys have forked it. I can watch your forks here. Right on, there's 2 forks. And also you forked it, just raise your hand on GB so I get to know. I can wait for you all. We'll go slow. We have plenty of time. I'll wait for one more person to fork. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat or unmute. I keep saying that. Very chill, you know. Come on, with knowledge sharing, that's the whole point of this session. I think we'll be good to go now. So once you fork it, you come to this URL, right? In this URL, click on code, copy the HTTPS URL, and do what I just did. Run git clone, and then the URL of your repository with this thing. Right. Are you guys done with that? Nice. Nice. Next step, what you have to do is, see, those who can follow, those who can't, you can watch. It's fine, really. Once you're done with that, I want you to come to this directory, right click and, okay, delete Aaditya, right click and create a new file, okay? Make sure this new file has your name. Let me just say Lois, for example. name the file as your name, and in the file as well, type your name. And once you're done with that, cd to the directory where you have cloned this. So we can either copy the address and then say cd to that address, or you can open it in Windows Explorer for Windows users, come to the address bar and just type in cmd. That will open command prompt in the directory automatically. I prefer PowerShell, so let me get back to where I was. You need a stop, learn bit. Now, you will git add dot, git commit, -m, added, and then whatever your name is, and then say git push, right? Permission didn't, oh wait, this is because I'm on this is on a different account. It should work for you guys. Let me know if it works for you guys. And just raise your hand once you're done with that. I'll wait for you guys. Just raise your hand on Gmeet chat once you're done with that. I'll watch here. Sure, I can paste down a bit. Where do you want me to continue from? I mean, do again. From the fork part. Okay. So let us switch back to the repo I made. Now, branch is when multiple people want to work on the same thing, right? But fork is when you want to contribute to a public repository. So any repository that is there, let us say I want to contribute to Linux itself, right? I can click on fork. So I can have my own copy of the Linux repository, and this will create a copy of that repository in my account. Once I'm done with that, I click on create fork. That is pretty much what I did with the other account. So I can fork this repository, and once I fork it, it will be on my account. So my account / the repository name, forked from where, and then you have the main branch as usual, and this is updated with the where I forked it from, if there's any changes and the like. Now let this be, okay? Any questions on fork? You guys understood how fork works? The point of fork is just to copy an existing repository onto your account. And then you can make changes locally. So what I want you guys to do next is, once you fork it, click on code, come to HTTPS, copy this URL, get to PowerShell or whatever terminal, any terminal, Mac terminal, Linux terminal, Bash, ZSH, or Windows PowerShell, Windows command prompt, anything. And then go to your desktop and run git clone, and then this repository URL, of yours, not of mine. It should have your username, right? Okay. Once you're done with that, what I want you to do for this experiment, you create a new file. It can be anything, a text file, anything you want. Name it with your name. Inside the file, type in your name. And then what you do is run git add dot, git commit -m, and then added, and then your name. Then run git push. Okay. It doesn't work for me because on my terminal command prompt, I'm logged into a different account. When you guys run git push for your first time, it will open your web browser and ask you to log into your GitHub account. After that, there are techniques for changing it, but that's not in scope for today. But yeah, let me know, like raise your hand on Gmeet chat if you're done with forking, making the change, and pushing it. Just git push. Next up, let it load up. Let me clean this, which out this, clicking on, and let's go back, git more this. As you can see, the I website is created. Yes. Let me create a file. Yeah. git add cd to it. Git add guard, git commit dash m, my name, git push. Now when I do git push, it will obviously push it to my version of the repository. I'll be able to see this. This branch is one commit ahead of the main thing. I can click on come to GitHub website, click on contribute and click on open pull request. What does this mean? What is a pull request? What is pulling? Pulling means pulling any updates, right? So I showed you guys how to use git pull to pull any updates from the main repository, right? A pull request is where I am requesting the original creator, which is the I network, to pull from my repository, to pull my commits or my changes. I can add a title, please pull my changes, and I can add a description. I am teaching people to use Git, so please pull my changes. And I can also format this so I can format it with headings and links and whatnot, and I can describe in detail why they should pull my request, and I can click on create the pull request. So this is a PR. Now this PR, yeah, any questions? Okay, cool. So now this PR will be available on their repository, the IRA network / the I website. You come to pull requests, this PR is available. And there's something called issues as well. I'll get to that. Let me go as the I. Now, as the I, that is the creator, I can look at this pull request and I can click on merge pull request. And when I click on merge pull request, Aaditya for learning purposes, right? So when I click on merge pull request and click on confirm merge, what that will do is that will merge. Look, Aaditya is there on the main repository itself. So what I want you guys to do is, after you're done making that change on your local thing, create a pull request on my repository so I can merge it from my side and show you guys how that would work in real time. There goes my people code. Lovely. Raise your hand on Gmeet once you've raised the pull request. Any questions about raising pull requests, by the way? Any questions on anything? Feel free to ask. There's a whole learning session we're doing. That's all we're doing. I'll give you guys maybe 2 to 5 minutes to raise a pull request. Okay, cool. I think I have 2 PRs. Let me just wrap up because that's it. We're done. This is how GitHub works. Where did that go? There. So if I merge, we have Ashwin and we have Keerthi, right? Let me merge Ashwin's PR, confirm merge. And we can also come to PRs, and there's another close PR, open PR, Keerthi, hi, and confirm merge. Now, if you come to my repository, which is right here, you'll be able to find Ashwin and you'll be able to find Keerthi. So, and they're also contributors now. It'll automatically tell you who contributed, how much. You click on contributors, it will give you a nice data sheet of, see, Ashwin's done 1 comment, Keerthi's done 1 comment, I've done 6. It'll show you who contributed and how much as well, over time. So this is the whole point of Git and GitHub. Now, why did I say the difference between GitHub and Git is like HTML file and Chrome or Mozilla? Because it's not just GitHub you can use. You can use something called GitLab Linux repo. Now just search GitLab repo, right? There we go. So GitLab is something like GitHub, which also has repositories, and there's other things where you can do, right? Git what providers, yeah. So you can have multiple places, something called Bitbucket, something called SourceForge, something called Launchpad, something called Atlassian Stash, Git So the whole thing is, this is what GitHub is used for. So we just showed live collaboration, live version control, live merging different versions, and all of this we just experimented. This is what GitHub does. Now the time is 8:43 now, and like I said, it's a 45-minute session, and we're done with the 45 minutes. Now until 9, I'll be right here on this Gmeet, and we can chill to some lo-fi music. And in the meanwhile, if there's any questions, let me know, please. Open for questions until 9. Then if you guys want to leave, you can leave. But yes, open for questions for 15 minutes. Questions, discussions, anything. Okay, we have one question. Clone versus fork, right? In clone, you're just going to locally clone the repository. That means in clone, you're just going to download the repository onto your local computer or system. In fork, you're going to fork the repository, which means it will be available on your GitHub account. Plus, it will also. Why is the timer not going? Yes. Yeah. In fork, it will be cloned to your GitHub account, and in fork, it will also be. You can add changes, right? So if I do git clone and I do some changes, I cannot push those changes to my own GitHub repository to maintain my own versions of the same project. But in fork, I can do that. I can push the changes and track it. In clone, I can't really do that. Clone is just like clone is nothing but downloading the GitHub repository. There's another question. Can you repeat the pull request once again? So the whole point of pull request is for collaboration. So let me share my screen, and we can get to what the whole point of pull requests. Where it is? Third screen. Let me get to that. Give me back. There. I hope my screen is visible, right? On pin. Yeah, beautiful. So the point of what was the question again? Pull request, right? Let's see. What was my thing called? Learn Git. Pull request. So this is my repository, right? This is not the repository that you guys fork. The fork repository will be okay. Let me just make another change and show. So let us get to Git. I'll just push another change and then show you guys what exactly that is. So for this, I'll have to cd to desktop. I know I'm not sharing my PowerShell, but I'll just link page myself and then get back to you guys. So I'm gonna go to learn Git, and I'm going to make a new file called Aaditya.txt. Git add dot, git commit, --m, added new Aaditya, git push. If I reload, I'll be able to find Aaditya 2, which is here. If you go to your fork, so there are 7 forks. Let us look at the existing. Can I look at the 7 forks somewhere? No, I cannot find out who forked it. Because forks are again personal, right? Or can I? Let me check. Oh, I can find out the public forks, not the private forks. If you convert your repository to a private repository, which you can do in settings, I'll get to that as well, just a second. But again, so this is a fork. Now this is whose fork? This is Ashwin's fork. Does Ashwin's fork have Kirti or Aaditya too? No. Does Kirti's fork have Ashwin or Aaditya too? No. and this is 4 comments behind the main thing. So the whole point of forking is so that you can add your own changes, your own comment, and then you can request the original author, that is the main repository, the original repository, to include your changes like Kirti and Ashwin. You can request the original person to include your changes onto the original repository. Is that clear, or is there any more doubts or questions on that? And I would appreciate if someone could explain it better, because this is the best I could explain it. Any more questions on anything? Open for discussion. The list of commands to create a new branch. There is no list of commands to create a new branch, but there is just one command. So let me get to that. Let me share my screen. So if you if you run git branch, is my screen visible? It is, yes, okay. If you run git branch, you will see the list of branches that is there in the GitHub repository. But if you say git checkout, that means you're going to check out to new, so -b new branch. Now you say git branch. You've created a new branch called new branch, and you're currently using the new branch. That means anything you commit, add, or push will be there in the new branch. And let us say you want to go back to the main branch and commit to the main branch. You say git checkout main. Why? Because main already exists. Now if I want to go back to hop back to new branch, I can just say git checkout new branch. Let's say CCK. So you use -b when the branch doesn't exist and you want to hop to the branch. This is how you create a new branch. And I just thought of this. Here's another way of how to say the difference between fork and clone. Clone is when you have let us say you're looking at someone's assignment report. When you create a Xerox copy of their assignment report for yourself, that is clone. Okay? But when you do rough work before doing a fair copy, that is fork. You have a Xerox copy of someone's assignment, then you edit it, and then you submit that is our assignment, that is the assignment, not the one he's submitting. So you're making changes and requesting the main person to accept those changes. That is what fork is for. That is the difference between fork and clone. And any more questions? Open to questions. About Git LFS. Okay, sure. So Git has something called LFS, right? LFS. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, I also have to talk to you guys about how to do other stuff in Git. So first, let's go through Git LFS. Now, Git has something called LFS, that stands for Large File Storage, and it is an extension for Git So if I upload a file of, let us say, like 2-3 GB, right? That wouldn't get pushed. So instead of that, I need something called Git LFS. Now, Git LFS is something similar to Git, but it is to track larger files. Because when you have a really large file, right? In a file we are tracking, you just imagine the amount of computational power and stuff required to track a small file for changes. But when you have a larger file, it's really complicated to just track the changes and track different versions. So we have Git LFS. So instead of using Git, you use Git LFS. So Git LFS track .star.tsd, for example. If tsd, like Photoshop design files, since they're large, you want to track those changes, you do that. And it's that simple. You just do Git LFS track and then you can do this. And then you want to list the files that is being tracked by Git LFS, you can do Git LFS ls-files. And otherwise it's the same thing with push, right? So the whole point of Git LFS is for larger files. Now I also wanted to share with you guys about repository settings. Two things. Number one is private and public web repository. Let us say I'm doing a project for maybe some confidential client like the government sector or someone. At that point of time, I cannot have a public repository which is publicly visible to everyone in GitHub. For that, I can come to settings and then change it to a private repository. Now, if I take it to a private repository, you guys cannot fork and commit, no? So, what do I do for that? For that, once I make it private or even while being public, instead of having you guys to fork and commit and raise a pull request, and instead of that much of complexities, I can just add you as a collaborator. Because usually in development we have teams. So let us, for example, add Ashwin, ASHWIN-001. Now let me just add myself, the I network. So if I add the I network as a collaborator, they will be able to do multiple things. So let me switch to the I network. And it says 404 for this repository because I made it into a private repository, right? But if I want to view it, I should be a collaborator. For that, I have to come to notifications and should be getting a notification as a request to join as to collaborate on the repository. Let's see. There we go. Invitation to join this repository. I can hit accept invitation. Now, the I network is a collaborator, right? Let's switch back to the owner of the repository, which is Rockbite. That is my main account. And go to collaborators. Now, the I network is can be a collaborator and make changes, right? Now, that is what collaboration and private public repository, the whole point of that. Currently a public repository, I believe. Yes, we'll back to public. And yeah, any more questions? I'll play lo-fi music until you guys ask more questions. And there's only 3 minutes for the session to end.
for everything, but I think it's clear. So we have to put this in now. You're in. Not right. And we need to do it by the end.
What do you mean?
There.